Hey friends, my name is Abel, and I think Pierre Poilievre is overrated. At best, he's like a 7 out of 10 politician. On average, he's like a 3 or 4. And if you follow me on Twitter/X, as you should, at affiliate groups, you'll see that I'm not the biggest Conservative Party supporter. In fact, I'm quite liberal. I've been following Pierre since the 2022 Conservative leadership election. And honestly, no amount of speeches or interviews have really sold me on this guy. And unlike all of these conservative supporting influencers who are just super partisan and would never say a nice thing about any liberal politician, I'm actually going to give you 10 things I like about Pierre before I actually start roasting the out of him. 1. I do believe he loves Canada and cares about its history. 2. He does somewhat regulate the extreme crazy parts of the right wing. 3. He didn't attack Trudeau's kids or wife, and the same thing with Carney's family, unlike his supporters who loved doing that. And I also respect that he wished Trudeau the best when he resigned. 4. He gracefully conceded the 2025 election, and his supporters started booing when that happened, but he did stand up to them, and I respect that as well. 5. I don't get the impression that he's a super materialistic person. 6. He does embody what I expect the Conservative Party of modern Canada to be like, at least to some degree. 7. He gets along with other CPC members well enough, and to my knowledge, he's never severely backstabbed an ally of his. 8. I don't think he's like an old man yelling at the cloud type like some Conservatives are. 9. I don't think he's necessarily a lazy person. And I think he wants the job of Prime Minister because he thinks it'll be fun, but also because he wants to enact real change. Lastly, 10, I do believe he can be an empathetic and emotional person, especially when he's talking about his family. For this one example I really like, where he's talking about Israel, and after he's done giving a speech, he recites a poem that he co-wrote with other members of the Israeli community in Canada, and I really respect that as well. Alright, now I'll tell you why I don't really like this guy. I'll try to keep this short and sweet because I really don't like this guy, and I could just go on for hours talking about how much he gets on my nerves. But I'm going to try to be mature. Pierre is fundamentally too power hungry, and he was unable to negotiate with the NDP to bring Trudeau down when he had the chance. He could have been Prime Minister, he really could have, but he just got so greedy. He kept criticizing the NDP when he didn't need to. He could have made concessions on dental care and pharmacare, especially because during the 2025 election season, he was basically saying, oh, I'll never cut those things, you don't need to worry about them. But in 2024, he was strictly against it and lied about their existence. I even saved hundreds of dollars on dental care because of that plan. And for Pierre to just lie and pretend it didn't exist, like, no, absolutely not. I can't stand that guy. Think about how unpopular Trudeau was. Yet Pierre couldn't fathom thinking about working with other members of parliament from other parties just to bring him down. He was just so weak and unable to negotiate, and that ultimately prevented him from being Prime Minister. What kind of difficult decisions has Pierre ever made? He's never negotiated a trade deal, let alone with anyone like Trump. And compromise and sacrifice are not something he's known to do, which is really weird for a politician of 20 plus years of quote-unquote experience. And he can't even criticize Israel in a healthy and constructive way. I understand if you want to be pro-Israel, but come on, you have to be able to do something like that. There is no transcript I could find of Pierre criticizing Israel killing any amount of civilians. And just know that if tomorrow Israel killed 100 civilians, Pierre would still get more angry at like a 17-year-old university student who was holding an anti-Semitic flag for like 10 minutes at a rally, and he would blame Carney for that. Like, when it comes to making difficult decisions, like really standing up for two different sides of a very complicated issue, which Israel-Palestine is, it fundamentally is a complicated issue if you know the history, then what use are you? Why would we ever have you as a leader? If you care about anti-Semitism and Israel, you should be able to criticize Israel and support Israel only when it's doing the right thing. And if you care about Palestine and a two-state solution, you should be able to criticize them as well. We can disagree on Israel-Palestine, but you have to be able to be fair and just when we have these disagreements. Speaking of making political decisions, why did Pierre take the vaccine? If he believes it works, why wouldn't he force other people to take it? Or why wouldn't he strongly recommend other people to take it? That wasn't the position he took. He stood firmly with anti-vax people. Why? Imagine if his children said, "Oh, I don't want to take this medicine." Would Pierre say, "Oh, this medicine works, but I wouldn't force you to take it"? No, that's so dumb. And imagine how many thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of Canadians would have died if Pierre was Prime Minister at that time. Just think about it. Like, this dude talks about strength and standing up to Trump, but that's like the most cowardly thing I've ever heard in my life. And I have no sympathy for that. He has no experience in stressful situations. I mean, look at the 2 debates in 2025 when he was finally lagging in the polls. Like, notice the tone shift, how weakly and unpassionately he started to speak, how respectable he was being despite being so strong and such an attack dog in the House of Commons when all of his conservative buddies are right behind him. Like, he flipped the Carleton seat, sure, decades ago, and ever since then it's been a safe conservative seat. And after 3 CPC losses and failures to bring down Trudeau, Pierre still lost to Carney afterwards. He blew a 25-30% lead. Like, come on, a 20-year plus political career and electoral experience. Where did that go? Where was all that common sense judgment? How did he lose? Why? Like, come on, this guy's entire life was politics, yet he has no meaningful legislation or bills passed to his name. He has no life experience, as far as I can tell. His life has been a straight line, and he has little personality and passion outside of politics. He's worked in politics, he got married to someone in politics, and he's going to work in politics after he retires from being Prime Minister or loses a seat or whatever. And look, I'm not personally against career politicians, but if this guy's going to roast Trudeau for being a drama teacher, like, what am I supposed to say to that when all you've done in your life is like nothing compared to being a drama teacher? You've been more useless than that. And at least drama teachers are passionate about art and like carry that passion through their students. Like, come on, man, this is so pathetic. He is lying to you when he tries to cosplay as this folksy blue-collar worker background. You can tell by the hard hats he puts in his office at times. Like, come on. Ugh. He believes the federal government should supersede the provincial governments just if he feels like it's necessary. That was the answer he gave when talking about pipeline consensus between various provinces like British Columbia and Alberta. 20 plus years as a politician, and that's your answer to negotiation. Like, oh, just do what I want. If only every political leader thought that way. What would be the point of politics? What would be the point of democracy? Like, he's treating you like a kindergartner. One of my favorite things, I'm really mean, but that's only because I care about you. I've seen so many interviews where whenever someone confronts him on like, hey, don't you think you're mean? He's like, I'm just mean because I really care about Canadians. That's why I'm sending these vertical phone recordings of me in like an airport sweating and yelling at Trudeau. It's because I really care about you guys. Bro, he sounds like an argumentative, angsty teenager or like a creepy ex-boyfriend. Like, how does this not turn you off? How does this not raise red flags all over your head? I don't understand how this guy has a following when he does stuff like that. It's so cringe. Like, how? It's so cringe. And one of the saddest things I've ever seen in my life is just slowly watching him try to convince you guys and himself that Carney's actually worse than Trudeau. I mean, all this time that I've been saying Trudeau's the worst politician in the history of this country, actually, Carney's just worse. Even though he's only had the job for like a few weeks or a few months, he's just worse, guys. That's how bad the Liberals are. Believe me, trust me, I'm the only one who can save you. Give me your money and your votes, and I'll fight for you. Because that's who I am, Pierre Poilievre. Actually, no, he wouldn't say that. He would just turn it into a cringe slogan. Kill me. Kill me, kill me. And don't fall for his trap, guys. He does this particular trick a lot. Let me explain. Let's say Trudeau does something. If the CBC says, oh, this is good or this is neutral, he'll be like, wow, liberal bias. But if the CBC says it's bad or doesn't support it, he'll be like, wow, it was so bad that not even liberal biased propaganda outlet CBC could support it. You see what he does there? His trick is, no matter how anything is described, it always looks bad for every party involved. Of course you like chocolate chip cookies. You're a liberal, and liberals always like chocolate chip cookies. Actually, I don't really like chocolate chip cookies. And even a liberal can't even like chocolate chip cookies anymore. Shows how bad the liberals have gotten that they can't even like chocolate chip cookies anymore. Like, bro, why are you doing this? Why are you wasting my time? Why are you wasting everyone else's time? Like, at least try to engage with what's happening in the world on any level other than... Oh my god. I don't even know what to say. I'm gonna die of cringe. Hey guys, ever hear of common sense? Common sense, lol? Thank God Pierre has common sense. I mean, no one else in the history of this planet ever thought of that genius idea. That's why Harper won the 2015 election, right? Because he had common sense, right? Oh wait, no, he lost that election. If only we had common sense, then we would be at world peace, and Canada would be the richest country in the history of the world. All we need is common sense, guys. I mean, they don't even teach this stuff in school anymore. Like, if only we had common sense, guys. Let me tell you something. Common sense, when it comes to common sense, sometimes it's common sense to believe that common sense isn't enough to solve a problem. Does that make sense? And normally I don't criticize people for decisions they made decades ago. I'll remind you, when it came to gay marriage, when it came to his understanding and empathy for indigenous people, when it came to his points about term limits, this guy has flip-flopped. And if you're going to criticize Trudeau for his decisions in 2000, then go ahead and do the same for Pierre. Sorry for bringing up Trudeau all the time. I know he's gone. But do you guys know he's gone? And by you guys, I mean hardcore CPC supporters. Do you know Trudeau's gone? No, because you're still gonna buy a bunch of merch with his face on it and just hang it in your room and just stare at it before you go to sleep. I understand. He's very handsome. I agree. Man, if Pierre Poilievre wasn't in politics, your lives would be exactly the same, legislation-wise. I mean, if I was a CPC member, I could probably accomplish everything that Pierre did. If you are a CPC member, you could do the same thing. I mean, all it takes is common sense, right? Right? What are 3 major decisions that Pierre has made since he got elected in the early 2000s that has positively impacted your life? Tell me. Something that no random conservative politician would have thought of. What is something unique that Pierre brings to the table? Something cutting edge, something ambitious. The Liberals gave me dental care. The Liberals gave me the COVID stimulus and took the coronavirus seriously. And this might be hard to believe, but the carbon tax saved my family a lot of money. Pierre would not have helped me in any of those ways. Never. I'm always open to changing my mind, and I tried to convince myself that, oh, maybe I'm just being too harsh on Pierre, but no, he's overrated, and I think he just sucks. His personality, his moral character, his leadership skills, just everything about this guy just makes me want to slam my head against the door. A cowardly person with no real achievements, despite 20 plus years in political office, why? Why should I like this guy? In conclusion, Pierre Poilievre is overrated. If he's still relevant by the next election season, I'll make a more detailed video. But for now, I just want to stop thinking about this energy vampire who just sucks all the positive energy I have out of me. Look, I don't hate Pierre as much as he hates Trudeau or hates Carney. And if I'm being real here, as much as Pierre hates himself, because he just has insecurity issues. We all know that, come on. I mean, I still like him more than DeSantis or Trump, so he has that going for him. So yeah, with liberal love, Abel out. Take care, guys. See you in the next video. Mwah.